Right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday. And some people ask, why do you do so many once in a lifetime wine tastings every month? Well, because we can. And, why do we do Penfolds every year? Well, now we have to. It's our obligation. We've been doing it for like 20 years to celebrate the release of Australia's most iconic Shiraz blend. It's had Cabernet in it every vintage but 3. And when Max Schubert went to go study the great wines of Bordeaux in the 50s, he learned that they used to Hermitage these wines. They used to put Shiraz into the Bordeaux blends pre-phylloxera, which was what a lot of the wines were that he tasted. And, things have changed. They used to also use a lot of Malbec in Bordeaux, but things have changed. They no longer use Shiraz. It's illegal now to blend wine from the Northern Rhone. But hey, in Australia and the New World, you can do whatever the heck you want to. And Penfolds Grange is one of the only iconic wine that I know of that is a blend of different vineyard sites which change every year. And the highest honor as a grower in Australia is to get your wine into Grange. They pay you some ridiculous price for it. They give you a couple of magnums. They throw a big party with all the growers. And, like I said, it's very unique. There's no other wine made like it in the world. So that is the reason why we do a Penfolds Grange tasting every year. And because we got someone like D. Lynn Proctor to come and tell the story of Grange, what a great orator he is. And, the wines from Penfolds also outstanding. Very balanced, very un-Australian-like to us in this country. But if you go to Australia, which they sell most of the Grange in Australia still today. I think it was 60%, D. Lynn was saying, but an incredible amount for such a high-priced wine, because for years this wine was even more expensive in Australia than it was outside of Australia. Now they went to global pricing. It's pretty much $500-$600 anywhere that you find it. I can't justify to open this up every day. That's why we do these tastings, to see how Australia's marquee wine is drinking today. Well, the Riesling from Eden Valley, one of my favorite wines from Penfolds. I always start with this if it's available. Classic Eden Valley Riesling, that lemon, lime, citrus, apricot, white flowers, hints of whetstone like slate mineral. Really bright and refreshing wine on the tongue. That juicy citrus fruit leaves the tongue salivating for food. The fresh apple and that tongue-tingly minerality. An excellent example of what they can do with Riesling in the Upper Barossa. The Saint Henri, which this is the name of a wine that from a winer that Penfolds bought, actually. They've been making the wine for a long time, and in 1944, Penfolds bought this winery. In 1957, Max Schubert resurrected the Saint Henri, and this is I call it Grange's alter ego, because basically it's a combination of the best Cabernet, Shiraz, and a little bit of Cabernet, made without the influence of new oak. It's all old oak. So pure, unadulterated Shiraz. The 2009 vintage, a warm year, and this one really showed that. The ripe plum and blackberry fruit, hints of eucalyptus and licorice spice, smooth and velvety on the tongue, ripe brown tannins. This wine's got a solid core of fruit and a nice zest to it. That eucalyptus, that violet and licorice showing on the finish, but lots of plump, ripe fruit. Drinking deliciously right now, but I've had old vintages of Saint Henri, 20 years. Well, this one will last at least 10. The 2005, a classic year in Australia. That dark plum, the cocoa, the licorice in there, some floral notes, really bright and fresh on the tongue. And this wine at 10 years old, still showing lovely freshness, fine tannins, a long finish. This wine will last another 10 years easily as well. Excellent as well, and I like it quite as much as the 9. The 2002, my favorite of the Saint Henri, is a cool year, and this wine just starting to drink nicely now. Wonderful Provençal herbs shown in this, bay leaf, black currants, very complex, even better on the second day. A good amount of that plummy fruit on the tongue, silky smooth tannins, and wonderful freshness. That spice and plenty of fruit here all the way to the end. Most excellent juice. And we can find some of these old vintages of Saint Henri cheaper than the new release. We got an incredible collection of Penfolds Ultras in the store, and I've included them on every offering. I'm not going to include on this one. Just type in Saint Henri. You can see everything we have from all the vintages. The RWT, created by John Duval. I think 97, 98 was the first vintage of this wine. Well, we released it at Cafe Max at one of our events with John Duval at that time when they first came out with it. And this is a 100% Shiraz. It's also aged in French oak as opposed to American oak, and from 80 to 100-year-old Shiraz vines. Sometimes it's 100% Barossa. 100% new oak as well. This wine's got a lovely elegance to it, and very different from the other Penfolds Shiraz. Dark blackberry fruit, black licorice spice, that lovely vanilla scent you get from new French oak. Really rich, pretty on the palate. This wine is silky smooth and big, fruity, but still has that textbook Penfolds balance and freshness. A really long, complex finish in this 2006. The 2011, a difficult vintage, and you really notice this. And even though I think they did a great job with the RWT, it's got a little black pepper spice to it, blackberry liqueur, violet, notes of tree bark here, and good amount of fruit on the tongue, but you can just tell in that pepperiness, not quite the ripeness that they achieve every year in Australia. A little nice savoriness to this wine, though, at the finish. Excellent juice. Then the Flight of Grange. That's why we're here, baby, but we got to give you something to lead you up to Grange. We can't give you 10 vintages of Grange for $225. That's an incredible value. I'll tell you, this tasting, the best value in anything that we do. Tony's Foie Gras Terrine, absolutely spectacular with the Shiraz. Is also one of my favorite pairings with Shiraz Foie Gras. That richness is beautiful. The 2010 is a little monster. This is a classic vintage for Grange, and it will go down as one of the great vintages for Grange in the history of Grange. It's made from Barossa Valley, Clare Valley, Adelaide, McLaren Vale, and McGill Estate, the original property that Dr. Penfolds planted, and 17 months and 100% new American oak. Grange, always American oak. This wine just incredibly dense and rich. A lot of plum, currant, cassis. Got some lovely floral highlights. Anise, camphor. Just incredible length on the palate. This wine, even better on the second day. It needs 2 days to open up. I mean, the first day, we opened up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Just killer juice. One of the Granges that is going to be around for the ages. 2009, of course, also an outstanding Grange. This wine always gets 95 plus points. It doesn't matter what vintage it is. Well, the 99, unfortunately, got 92 points. That wine also most excellent, though. Just need a little bit of time. The 2008 Grange, a little warmer vintage. This wine a little bit more forward. You get that lovely dark chocolate charred meat in this wine, dark berry fruit, and even though it's rich and forward, it still has wonderful balance, wonderful length in this wine. The 2009 Grange is going to be around for decades to come. Most excellent juice. The 99 was my least favorite of the 3 Granges, but this wine's still most excellent. You notice that peppery spice coming out in this wine, the dark cocoa, the blackberry fruit, violet, a cooler vintage. A nice long finish, though. This wine still has a lot of fruit and a lot of life left to it. All 3 Granges, I think, most excellent to killer, and that's what you want from an iconic wine. We don't settle for anything less than that from Grange. The Penfolds Grandfather Tawny, always a big hit also. This is a wine, you're getting extra at a Wine Watch event, man. We opened up a 90 Opus 1 in here. I mean, we opened up the McGill Estate 2002. D-Lynn said, where's the McGill Estate at? You could just feel the love when you come to one of our once-in-a-lifetime events, especially Penfolds. The Grandfather Tawny, though, really lovely. That caramel sea salt notes, the toffee, the dried figs and dates. If you love tawny port, man, this one is outstanding, as good as any 20-year tawny you will find, and it's $79.20. Outstanding juice. All right, well, that's what we had to drink at our Penfolds party this year with D. Lynn Proctor. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying, remember, always drink the good stuff first.